I'm Petros Papadopoulos, Tier 2 Service Desk Technician, and this is the people behind C3.
At customer support here at C3, our primary role is to assist the users of our clients with their day-to-day needs. So we build and manage a secure environment for our clients to use. And there are a wide range of day-to-day needs that end users may have. So they'll email or call us, and we will help them from everything from my printer's not working to I got this suspicious email to, we're adding a new user. Can you set up a computer for us? We monitor alerts. So it's a really wide range of things, but it's primarily those day-to-day needs that the service desk needs. One thing I maybe did not expect is coming into a service desk role, I knew that it was people facing and you're kind of directly working with end users on a day-to-day, but security overall is way more people focused. It really is all about people in the end, in terms of how they behave, how they do their work, how they interact with data. And so that's something I've gained a larger appreciation for since I've been here. At the service desk, I have kind of an outside perspective on this process, and from what I've seen, my advice would be to start early. Reason being, it's going to take longer than you think it will. There is both discovery internally in terms of what are our needs, then going out to find a provider to help you with risk management, compliance, and cybersecurity. Then you kind of have to get approval for funding, and so the more you get into it, the more steps there are just to get to a starting line. So that's why my advice would be to start early, because the more you dig into it, the more you'll find out you may need to do, and it's better to figure that out sooner rather than later.
To learn more about C3 and how we can help you with your compliance needs, visit c3isit.com.